Hey everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Out of all the channels on YouTube, you chose mine and I'm super grateful for that. Today we're going to be making this very unique and elegant necklace. It features a sunburst pendant with a chain tassel, and the strands consist of faceted check beads, metal components, and shell pearls. And we're going to use the beads that came in the Softflex Company Design Challenge Kit, which was launched end of December 2023. If you're not familiar with these kits, I'll leave a link to the website down below so you can go check it out. And if you missed out on this kit, I'll leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video in case you want to do a Google search. And don't forget that I always model my necklaces at the end of all of my videos, so please stick around for that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And here we have the Softflex Company Design Challenge Kit. The name of this kit is Deco the Halls, and I did do an unbagging video. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. But as you can see, the color scheme was primarily white and black, and the metals were gold. I couldn't resist using that beautiful John Bead component, the Sunburst component, but I also wanted to use some of the silver metal beads that came in the Jesse James Beads Design Elements bead mix. So this will be a mixed metal necklace. I'll be using both gold and silver. But anyway, I will leave some information down below on these kits, and I'll leave a link to the website in case you want to go check it out. I know the kit's probably already sold out, but they have other ones available. So let's go ahead and select the materials. And here are the beads and components we're going to use for today's project. Of course, what inspired this necklace is this gorgeous John Bead Sunburst component. Let me show it to you. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's so gorgeous. It's the same on both sides, but as you can see, it has all these little openings, and we're going to use them to do some beadwork. I believe it measures 43 millimeters across. It's pretty large. And here we have some shell pearls. They measure 6 millimeters. And here I have some faceted check glass beads. The color is jet black, but they have a little bit of antique silver plating on one side of the bead. Let me show you. It's really pretty. I really like that. But the plating isn't on all the bead, it's just on one side. And I don't know if I'll use all four. I'm going to use them for the strands. I'll figure it out later on once I start building the strands. Now these came in a Jesse James Beads Design Elements bead mix, which was included in the kit. We have these gorgeous metal components. They kind of look like 4-leaf clovers, but I'm not really sure. But I think they're so nice. Let me show you. As you can see, there's the hole, and it comes out the other side. And I'm probably going to put a bead inside there, probably a little pearl or something. I'm thinking maybe a 3 millimeter pearl. I know I have some in my stash somewhere. And these are 5 millimeter black beads. They're just plain round beads. And I'm pretty sure this is a shell pearl as well, because it has the same finish as these. But I'm not sure. It came in the Design Elements bead mix, and it measures 8 millimeters in size. Let me show you what else we'll be needing today. And I almost forgot about this tassel. As you can see, it's a chain tassel, and it measures about 2 inches in length, and it does have a loop at the top, so that's pretty nice. We're going to be attaching that to the bottom of the pendant. Let me show you what else we're going to be needing. We're going to be needing a small amount of seed beads, and these are size 11-0, and they're round Miyuki seed beads, and the color is champagne. It's kind of like a gold color. I'm going to be using some craft wire, and this is 22 gauge, and it's in a gold color, as you can see. It's German style wire, which means it's a little bit harder than regular wire, but you can use any kind of wire as long as it's 22 gauge. We'll be using it to do some wrap loop components today, so it needs to be the proper gauge. If it's any thicker than 22 gauge, you're going to have a hard time. And here I have a lobster clasp and some jump rings. The clasp came in the kit, but the jump rings are from my own stash, and the jump rings measure 6 millimeters in size. I'll be using some fire line today, and this is 8-pound fire line, and it's in a smoke color. And I think that's about it. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by creating the pendant, and we're going to be adding these beads to the component. I've cut myself a 36-inch length of fire line, and I have it threaded on a size 10 needle. We're going to start by picking up these beads, and I'm going to load all 8 of them onto my thread. These are the 5mm size round beads. And I don't think it's going to work with any other size, guys. So you really should try to find 5mm size beads. So here I've got all 8. And I'm going to bring it down to where the tail is. And now I'm going to go through all of them again. And I'm going in through the end where the tail is. Because what you want to do is form a circle. So there's my circle, and now I'm going to make a knot, and it's just a regular overhand knot. And that brings the beads together. And let me do another one. And that should be good enough. I had to go rescue my cat because he was trying to walk on my tools. I have a tray full of tools to my right. He's been getting very clingy lately. And it's funny because I just fed him. Usually when I feed him, he ends up sleeping a little bit. So anyway, there's my circle. And I'm going to go ahead and snip off the tail because we don't need it. And now I'm going to travel through a couple of beads to get away from where the knot is. And pull, because that helps get the knot inside the bead, so you won't see it. And now I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead and go to the next bead. Like this. And now I'm going to pick up another one and go through the next one. And I'm going to continue placing a seed bead in between each of these 5mm size beads. Okay, I have one more to add. And now I'm going to go through this seed bead. Let me go to this next 5mm bead. It's a little tricky because it's a little tight. So that's what you should have. And now I'm going to pick up this 8mm pearl. I'm coming out of this 5mm bead, and I'm going to go to this one, which is across, directly across, and I'm going to go in this way. Just like that. And that pops that pearl right in the center. So now I'm going to go through the pearl. You want to make sure your thread doesn't get caught up in the beads. And now I'm going to go in through this one again from this end. It's kind of tight, so it's a little difficult. Just like that. And pull. So that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to travel through the exact same path to reinforce. So I'm going to go through the pearl. And I'm going to go through this bead here from this end, this side of the bead. going back through the pearl, and back through this 5mm bead. And now I'm going to travel through that 11-0 seed bead just like that and pull. So that's enough reinforcement, and that pearl is not going to go anywhere. So the next step is to attach it to the component. Now you need to look at these little spokes because you need to figure out which side's going to be the side that has the tassel. And I think I want to place the tassel on this side, hanging down this way. But the other thing you need to decide on is where you're going to attach the strands. You're obviously not going to be able to attach the strands where there's a long spoke. So I'm thinking probably here and here. Let me just point to them. This little hole here and this little hole here, because these spokes are kind of short. And I know I'll be able to fit 6mm jump rings on both of those. I hope that makes sense. Now the funny thing about this component is that it has 39 holes, so it's an odd number. And the beaded component that I just made has 8 beads, so that's an even number. So it's not going to be perfect, unfortunately, but you won't notice it once it's attached. So I think I'm going to start by attaching it to this hole right here, which is in the center between this one and this one. Let's go ahead and try that. We're going to start by loading a seed bead. As you can see, I'm exiting from this side of that seed bead. I'm going to go in through the opposite side, like this, and pull. And now I'm going to go in through the seed bead that I just loaded, and I'm going to go in this way, like this. As you can see, the seed bead that I just loaded is sitting on top of that one, and that's what you want. And now we're going to attach it to the component. Let me just double check to make sure I know which hole I'm going in through. I think we said this one right here. So I'm going to go through it like this. Let me pick up my work. And I'm going to place it right on top like this. And now I'm going to go in from the back like this. I hope you guys can see that. And pull. And now I'm going to go through the seed bead again this way, like this. And pull. And now I need to go through the seed bead again and through the black 5mm bead and the next seed bead down, like this. This first part's a little tricky, but once you have a few of them attached, it gets a little bit easier. So anyway, this one's anchored in there, pretty good. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to pick up a seed bead. I'm coming out of this side of this seed bead. I'm going to go in through the opposite side. Just like that. I'm going to go back through the seed bead I just loaded this way. And now I need to figure out where to anchor this next one. And I did the math earlier and I figured out that I needed to have at least 4 holes in between each one of these anchor points. There's going to be a total of 8. So 7 of them are going to have 4 holes in between. And then there'll be an 8th one with just 3 holes. And that's because of the odd number situation. So let me just go over the numbers with you real quick. There are 39 holes and there are 8 anchor points. If you subtract 8 from 39, you're left with 31. And if you divide 31 by 7, You get a total of 4 plus 3 left over. I hope that makes sense. So let me count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to anchor it here. I'm going to go in through that hole like this. Go from behind through the center like this. Go back through the seed bead that I just added this way. And now I'm going to go back through the seed bead that I started from. The 5mm bead. Let me just pull it through. You do have to be careful that your thread doesn't get tangled up in the spokes. That's the tricky part. And now I'm going to go through this seed bead. Just the seed bead, not the large bead. And pull. So now we have 2 anchor points completed. I'm going to add another seed bead. I'm coming up from this side of the seed bead. I'm going to go in through the opposite side, just the seed bead alone, not the large bead next to it, and pull. I'm going to go in through the seed bead I just loaded. Let me just position it. And pull. It helps if you put your thumb on it like I just did. So now let me count 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go in through this one. I'm going to go in from the back through the center of the component. I'm going back through the seed bead I just loaded. And now I need to go in through the seed bead at the bottom and through the next 5mm round, like this. And through the 11-0 next to it. Just like that. So now I have 3 attached. And I'm going to keep going until I get all 8 done. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm almost at the end. I'm coming out of the seed bead, this last seed bead. And now I'm going to load another seed bead and go in through the opposite side. Like that. Let me help this one a little bit. You do have to kind of position them in the right place. And now I'm going to go in this way. And now let me count 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go in through this one. And now I'm going to go in from the back through the center. Like this. Let me go back through the seed bead. and back through this one here, the one that's next to the black bead. And I'm going through the black bead and out through the next seed bead, just like that. It's getting kind of tight, so I'm going to use my pliers. So now all 8 are attached, as you can see. And like I said before, there are 4 holes in between each one, except for one of them, which only has 3. But it's not that noticeable, so I really don't mind. So now I'm going to go through the center because I want to go out the back now. And now I'm going to add a seed bead, just like I did on the other side, because I want to cover up some of these threads. So let me add a seed bead. I'm coming out of this side of the seed bead, the top side. I'm going to go in through the bottom side now. I'm going to use my pliers. And I'm going to go in through the seed bead this way. I'm going to go in through the hole. And I'm going to come in from the back through the center like this. And go back through that seed bead that I just added. And now I need to go through the seed bead that's on the first row and through the round bead. It helps if you push it up a little bit. Let me see if I can get it through. And through the seed bead here. It is a little tricky, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me see if I can get it through this way. And I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to pick up a seed bead, go through this side, the opposite side of which I'm exiting from. And I'm going to go back through the seed bead that I just added. I'm going in this way. Go through the hole where the thread is from the previous round and pull. Go from the back and through the center like this and pull. Go back through the seed bead I just added this way and pull. And now I need to go through the seed bead from the first row, so let me push my work out to make it easier. Hopefully I can do it this time. It is a little bit tricky, but I need to go through the seed bead and the round bead if possible. Let's see if it'll go through. And through the next seed bead over. And I just bent my needle. Oh well. So that's how I'm going to do all 8. It's going to be challenging, but I'll do the best I can. And you don't have to do this, guys, if you don't want to. I just want to do it because I don't like to see the thread. It's not that noticeable, but it just bothers me that it's there. So I want to put a seed bead across each piece of thread so you don't see it as much. So let me keep going and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm going through the last one, and let me tell you guys, it was very, very difficult. And I think it's because when I made the initial ring, I made it a little bit too tight. So what I recommend that you do when you make this ring is to keep it kind of loose. I had a very difficult time. I even poked myself right there. So now I'm going to add my last seed bead. And I'm going to go in through this one again the best way I can. Hopefully I won't poke myself again. Let me try this way. It's very, very difficult because it's very, very tight. Let's see if I can do it. Use my pliers. I think it's going through, but it's going through the other side. That's okay. I'm just going to pull it through. And now I'm going to come back through this way because I want to be on this side. So now I'm going to go through the seed bead I just added. And I'm going to go through the hole where the thread is. Come back through the center like this. Go back through the seed bead I just added. And now I need to travel through the bottom seed bead, the one that's next to the big bead. And let's see how far I can go. And I think I'm coming out this way, so that's good. It's really tight, but I made it through, thank goodness. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and knot it off. So I'm gonna find a thread bridge somewhere. I think I'll just go underneath this one just to make things easy. And I'm just gonna go through this loop and pull. And let me do it again. I'm going to go underneath the thread bridge like this, make a loop, go through the loop and pull. And that should be good enough. So let me snip it off. And that's the finished component. It was very, very challenging. And it's funny because I did practice before I made the tutorial, and the first one that I did was not as tight and it was much, much easier. So what I recommend that you do, guys, if you're going to do this, is to not make the ring so tight, and that should make it a little bit easier. So this is finished. I'm pretty happy with it. Let me remove these seed beads. So now let's move on to the next step. I'm going to get the tassel. As you can see, I have my tassel, my component, and a jump ring. And yes, this is going to be a mixed metal necklace. So we're going to have both silver and gold. I actually love that look. This part's really easy. Let me go ahead and open up this jump ring. This is one of my 6mm jump rings. I'm going to slide the loop of the tassel into it. And now let me see what hole I'm going to attach it to. I think I'm going to attach it to this one right here. Like that. And let me close it. So there's my pendant. I think it's lovely. I really like it. So now we're going to move on to the strands. Let me get the materials for that. Here are the beads for the strands. I've already laid them out, as you can see. And I really don't know if I'm actually going to use all of these. What I'm going to do is connect a few of them, and then I'll figure out if I need more. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and mount them on wire. I have a piece of 22 gauge wire. I like to work with long pieces because that way I don't waste as much wire. Using my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the wire about 1.5 inches down or 1.25 inches down, something like that. I'm going to bend it, place my pliers right there where the kink is, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. So now I have a loop. Using some skinny pliers, and these are actually crimping pliers. I like to use these for this purpose. I'm going to grab that loop with the tip like this, and then with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and do a few wraps. I usually only do about 2 wraps, but you can do as many wraps as you want to. So now I need to cut off the excess. I'm going to use my flush cutters. And now I need to tuck in that sharp end. I usually like to hold onto the loop. It's a little bit easier this way. And now let me go ahead and load one of these pearls. Another reason I'm using 22 gauge, guys, is because these pearls have very small holes. So even if you're thinking about doing simple loops, it's not going to work out because you need thicker gauge for simple loops. So now I'm going to grab the wire with my round nose pliers again, right above the bead like this, line up the bottom loop, bend it, switch to this part, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. Grab the loop with my skinny pliers, snip off the excess, grab the tail, and do my wraps. Cut off the excess and tuck in that little sharp end. So there's my first beaded component. And now I did say I was going to add a little pearl in the center. And these are very cheap pearls. I think they're plastic pearls actually, but it's the only ones I had in my stash. So there's one. Now before I add it, I need to prepare the wire. So once again, I'm going to grab it like this, about 1.25 inches down, something like that. Bend it. Switch to this part, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop and slide this component into it. Grab the loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail and do my wraps. Cut off the excess. Tuck in that sharp end. So let me show you how I'm going to add the pearl. I'm going to place the pearl in the middle. And let's see where the hole is. The hole is over here somewhere. So I'm going to insert my wire. And I'm going to kind of roll that pearl around until I find the hole. And I'm going out the other end, as you can see, and the pearl is in the center. Isn't that cute? It's so cute. So now I'm going to grab the wire with my round nose pliers, bend it, switch to this part, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. Grab the loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail, and do a couple of wraps. cut off the excess and tuck in that little sharp end. I do want to line up my loops because I want them facing the same direction. And now I have two components attached. And I love that little pearl in the center. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. And that's how I'm going to do all of them. I'm just going to keep linking them just like I did here until I get the length that I want. And I don't want to do it on camera because it'll take too long. So let me do it off camera and then we'll come back and attach the strands to the pendant. Well, I'm back, and as you can see, I built my two strands and each one measures 9 inches. So by the time I add the jump rings and the clasp, the necklace will be about 19 inches or so. And as you can see, I added pearls at the top. This is where the clasp is going to go. And I did that because I didn't want to have these big beads at the top by the clasp. I think it's more comfortable when you have smaller beads. So now we just need to assemble the whole thing. And I feel like this necklace was a little bit awkward to make, honestly, mainly because of these anchor points on the component. But like I said earlier, if you don't tighten that ring too much, you shouldn't have so much trouble. So I'm going to try to attach the strands through this hole here and this one over here. Let me go ahead and open up a jump ring. So I'm going to insert it through this one, like that. And now my strand. And now let me close it. Let me open up another jump ring. And I think I said this one right here. Like that. And now the other strand. And let me close it. So now the strands are attached. And I think that looks really nice. And now we just need to attach the clasp. And by the way, these are 6mm size jump rings. There's no front or back, so it really doesn't matter where you attach the clasp or what side you attach the clasp to. And on the other strand, I'm just going to have the jump ring. And that's basically it. I think this is a very elegant necklace, but it's also kind of fun with this component. I hope you like it as well. Let me move it down so you can see the top. There's the top. And there's the bottom. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. As always, I'd like to go ahead and put it on for you and show you what it looks like. So let me do that and I'll see you in a few moments.